button done up.
I'm very relaxed, as you can tell. I've been stretching.
This podcast, as always, is supporting Swiss 8. Now, at the moment, Swiss 8's got a few things going on. University of Newcastle is currently recruiting for a psych study, proving the Swiss 8 app as an intervention for anxiety, depression, and making you better at life. If you want to be part of it, all you need to do is be a veteran post-1990. Discharged out of the military, go on Swiss 8's socials, and there is recruitment links.
Right. Can we just discuss the first point? What's wrong with my shirt?
I like your shirt.
I'm not sold on it. It's a bit
Shit.
I don't know how to describe it. Who said shit? Adrian?
No, it's not. It's not. You just said it's a bit, and I just said that's shit. I reckon it's all right. It's a happy shirt. It makes me happy. Makes me happy that you're happy, Max. Because you look so happy.
I don't. Like I was saying, I just spent the last 20 minutes, instead of meditating for this podcast, trying to fix a smart light bulb, and it beat me.
What's a smart light bulb?
The ones you can set all your stuff up so that you... Actually, this would be a good segue. You know how the blue light and people are supposed to go to bed when the fucking light goes down in the sky, except we invented a thing called electricity, and now we sit up and watch Netflix series and with all the lights on, and then we try to go to sleep and we can't. So you can actually, you can use a little bit of technology and turn all your lights so you can go to red light at night time, or reduce it so it automatically starts closing down.
Yeah, right.
You just installed that into your house?
No, well, I installed it into this studio here. I call it a studio. It's like a corner of a broom cupboard with two lights in it. But
So is it running? What's it running through? Google?
yeah,
Hey Google, turn the lights off.
we can't because it's got a microphone. Hey Google,
Oh, you got headphones
turn
on.
mood light off.
Now the light's smarter than all of us. Oh, look out.
Hey Google, turn the mood light back on.
Oh, what an
I just
age
wanna
we
point out-
live in.
Righto, we better get into it. Lily, thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Fucking hell, that was hilarious.
Right, Lily, you've got a fucking story to tell, mate. We were trying to chase you down, and then we met you at the was it open day at the Epic Coaching?
Yeah.
Oh, that seems like a lifetime ago now.
Fucking oath. Can you take us through your backstory? And then I'll be interested, why do girls, and because obviously you're a lot younger than, number one, what's the backstory of why you got into powerlifting as a sport, as a chick? I didn't think that was something that...
Yeah, as a chick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a girl?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, so I've been lifting since I was like 15. It was like the first thing I wanted for my 15th birthday was a gym membership. So I started training when I was 15, and I think it just kind of led one thing to the next. Got a first personal trainer. I kind of just started off with like cardio and just moving on one gym equipment to the next and whatnot. And then I think it's that teenage ego that kind of drove it a little bit more. So I had to be the best one in the gym and be the strongest one. So it was like a guy next to me, he's shoulder pressing like 10 kilos and I had to do the 12.5s. And it just kind of kept leading from that, I guess. I always had to be the best in the room, lifting the most. And I think I kind of quickly realized that I actually am pretty strong for a 16-year-old. So I feel like that's where it kind of just progressed from there.
Because you were playing rugby league at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was playing rugby league, so I think that's why I wanted the gym membership, was to strengthen the sport, which worked well, but I think gym kind of took over in the long run. And then when I was 18, I started at another gym, and at this gym, there was a couple elite level powerlifters. So only 18, I was in the gym squatting like 100 kilos, 120 kilos by myself. And these powerlifters came up to me and was like, you're pretty strong. Like, you're pretty strong for like a kid. So they kind of just took me under their wing, gave me a bit of pointers and whatnot, and kind of led me into a competition. So I just did my first competition at 19 and kind of haven't stopped since. So 6 years of powerlifting,
Yeah, fuck.
6 or 7 years of powerlifting now, and now I'm competing at an elite level.
How old were you when you were back squatting 100?
I was like 18.
Good. Because I'm 36, and I was talking to Keegan before the show, and I was like, yeah, feeling really good. Because I was stalking you last night on your Instagram and stuff like that to see what's going on, and then saw some of your bigger back squats, and I was like, fuck, I felt really good this week doing sets of 100 kilo back squats for reps, and I was like, yeah, I'm really good. And then I checked out your Instagram profile, and I was like, you're pathetic.
That's how we all feel when we train with Lily.
Yeah.
Because what's your biggest back squat?
227.5. So it's 500 pounds. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Bit big.
So, and you've gone into this because it's a male dominant sport. I don't want to get super, but there's lots of dudes that do it. Was there many chicks getting around? Were you sort of a trailblazer moving into it? Or?
So when I first started, my first comp was in 2014. I think this was the second women's only competition. So it's called Pretty and Powerful. I think at the time there was only like 20 women in the competition. Now this competition is now one of Valhalla, like the gym I'm at. It's one of their biggest competitions of the year as well. It's
So when it first started in 2012, there was 8 competitors, and it was, as Lily said, a female-only comp.
Yeah.
And it's just growing exponentially each year. Obviously, last year was a bit different with COVID, but there's usually around upwards of 90 female lifters, and then there's people on the wait list that have to get turned away, unfortunately.
Yeah. So it's definitely grown in the sport, like with women. Women are taking over the sport.
Taking over.
Ooh.
Look
We're
out.
taking over.
It's fucking I 100% agree with that too. Even obviously social media's played a huge role in that, but also just the strength of women is becoming ridiculous. Like Lily squatting 227 kilos is fucking ridiculous, and there's girls squatting close to 300 kilos now.
Yeah, like my squat's nothing compared to some of the other girls out there.
But you had a little bit of a pause, or a bit of a hiccup along the way, just a mild hiccup along your way to greatness.
Yeah,
so take us through it, mate, because that is phenomenal. We sort of named the episode "Absolute Grit" because when I heard about it, I was like, "Fucking no way!"
Yeah. So it's pretty much exactly this time last year. I was prepping for Pro Raw 12, which is one of the biggest powerlifting competitions in Australia.
In the world.
Pretty much in the world. So it's the biggest competition. It was going to be my biggest competition pretty much of my whole life as well. The prep was pretty much perfect. I ended up with a 227 squat, 97.5 bench press, and a 200 kilo deadlift. So I was really on track. Nutrition, everything, it was perfect. So to have this hiccup, it was really unexpected.
Get to the hiccup.
The
Everyone's
hiccup.
Like, what's going on?
We need the build up.
Yeah.
So the night before the weigh-in for the competition, I had to do like a minor water cut. So I had a couple kilos to still drop. So we did a few hours like overnight without drinking water or carbohydrates and whatnot. The whole night I couldn't sleep. I was tossing, turning. I felt really sick. I had pain in my stomach. It was like the worst feeling in the world. I still woke up the next morning and I had to make weigh-in. So it was really, really hard. Like I was so close to quitting like before I even got to the weigh-in. I made it there, just made weight. I remember I started blacking out just walking out of the gym. I could barely see. I had no energy. It was really bad. I thought the whole thing was just because of the weight cut I did. I haven't eaten or drinking enough, so I just was dehydrated. Yeah, it's that feeling of
I've pushed it too far.
Yeah, I've pushed it too far. Like, you know that feeling when you're hungover You're really dehydrated. It was literally that feeling. yeah.
Max knows it very well.
Yeah, so it was just that feeling. So I just got in the car and I just tried drinking some fluids, having something to eat. I didn't even make it all the way home. I got myself out of the car door and I was spewing on the side of the road. I was just so sick. Got home and I just couldn't keep any food down, no water, nothing. I was just so sick. And I ended up like passing out, like sleeping for like 4 to 5 hours, which is not ideal the day before you're about to compete. You need to get your refeed and whatnot in. Like, it's important for that next 24 hours is really important. But yeah, I think I end up messaging Brendan saying, hey, I think it's something a little bit different. I'm getting a bit of pain in my stomach and in my back. So we suggested that I went up to the hospital, and whatever it was, I didn't care because I had to compete the next day. Like, like even if I'm in pain, like the pain can push to the side because I've got to compete tomorrow. Like I can't deal with the pain right now. But yeah, had to drag myself to the hospital.
Your boyfriend had to drag you to the hospital. Like,
yeah.
This whole time, I just want to jump in. Like, Lily rolled up to weigh and she looked like shit. Like something was wrong. With like, this doesn't look like a standard. A weight cut shouldn't result in this. And then I was in contact with her boyfriend. I was like, just take her to fucking hospital. Like, she's not okay. But the whole time she's messaging me like, oh, I'll be right to compete. I'm like, you're not. But, but we'll just let you think that.
Yeah. It's, the competition obviously was important to me. But after a few like tests and stuff in hospital, I got treated for a UTI. They put me on antibiotics for a few hours, and then they sent me home with some endone and whatnot. And then later that night, the endone wore off, and I was in the worst pain I've ever been in. Like, I can't even explain the pain. It was so bad. But I ended up having to go up to the hospital again, 4 a.m. I'm still angry because I have competition in a few hours. Get to the hospital. They ended up putting a gown on me, put me on a drip, doing a few more tests. I think we had to wait a couple of hours for the people to do scans and stuff to come through.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's distracting.
Sorry, we're just dealing with dickheads in the gym.
In the gym, yeah. But yeah, after a few tests and stuff came back, it said that I had really low kidney function. So we started treating me for kidney stones. So I think we did another course of like antibiotics and stuff, like testing for that. And I think just one thing led to another. Came back saying I had like a mass growing in on my kidney. So on the inside, it ended up being 12 centimeters. So it's like that big, growing on the inside of my kidney. And then a couple of days later, we found out I had kidney cancer.
Fuck.
Yeah, I know.
But, sorry, I'm going to jump in. Can you please explain how you found out you had kidney cancer?
Which part?
How
she told me.
Yeah.
So
we laugh about this now, but it was very sad at the time.
It was kind of cute though, because it was on my partner's birthday, and every single year I get him an ice cream cake, like those Woolies Freddo ice cream cakes every year. And I was just more upset that I couldn't be at home with him to give him his Freddo ice cream cake. And so he rocked up to the gym like 7 p.m. at night with an ice cream cake, party hats, little clown wig on. Like, it made my night. It was so nice. But we were in the room celebrating his birthday just by ourselves, and the nurse came in and started talking about like different treatment options, saying like, oh, so if we have to do like chemotherapy, radiation, and like all of this stuff. And I'm just staring at her like, oh, okay, like, why are you talking about that? And she's like, oh, you've been told you have cancer, haven't you? And I was like, oh, yeah, I've been told. And then she's like, you could just see how bad she felt. I was like, I can't tell her that I have not been told.
Why not?
But yeah.
I
just felt...
You felt bad. You felt bad for the nurse.
Yeah, I felt bad for her because she felt so bad.
That's the shocking thing. It's like, you just got told you have renal cancer in the most improper way, and you still have empathy for this other person.
But she looked like you could tell she felt bad, so I was like, I'll just play it off. But as soon as she left the room, just broke down crying.
Yeah. So what was what was your reaction to it? And Was there stuff that helped you get through it, or was there nothing that could prepare you for it? You were like, well, fuck, and then you grew from that, or what was going through your mind?
I don't even know. I don't think I really dealt with it for a couple months after, to be honest. But yeah, after the actual initial reaction, I think I was just so high on all the pain medication that, I don't know, didn't really...
It was a bit of
if this is it.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a weird, like, because what had the whole sequence like played out, like we had the competition because it was just as everything was going into lockdown. It was literally the day Lily went into hospital on the competition day that night. Scott Morrison announced, the lockdown. So there was so much going crazy, and there was no real control over anything. So there was a lot to deal with, and I remember like I was unfortunately there when Lily got got told she had a mass. They can still see me. It's just been cut off by that. But
should go the other way. Push him.
We're going to cut him out of the video anyway, don't worry.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's called the Lily Riley podcast. But I went up there when she got got told she had a mass in there, and it was quite overwhelming. The first thing Lily did was actually crack a joke that once it's cut out, she's going to go squat 250 that following Wednesday, and I'm like... like for me, you're trying to there support someone else going through a rough time, and they crack a joke. It's probably like the truest sign of strength I've ever seen, and it's just insane. So throughout the whole process, Lily just kind of remained strong, and I'd go visit her in hospital, and she'd still be smiling, still be telling you the good things about her day. And I agree, though, I don't think it really hit until a couple of months after. And Max, you met Paul on Epic Day.
Yep.
And he did a lot of Lily's post-surgery, once she had the kidney cut out, a lot of her rehab. And he was, I think, a big influence between him and myself, just telling her to, like, put the brakes on, like, stop, just really reflect on your life has just fucking changed.
Yeah, 100%.
And then she was going to do another competition, but there was a few conditions, and one of them being that she had to have like a week off and have a holiday and just go and reflect. So I think that's when it really hit her.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I had a look at so you were kind of the opposite. You've got a before, during, after, like you're in shape, right? So you're you're one of the leaner bodybuilder, like powerlifters. You got a rig on you, and then you get diagnosed, and you have the surgery, and they opened you up like a fucking clamshell, like Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah.
And then,
actually,
yeah, I was like, that wasn't keyhole surgery, like they.
Yeah, no, it was open surgery. So the tumor itself was 1 kilo. So yeah, we had to go through the side of my rib cage. I actually had to cut through the actual abdominal wall.
So what was the repercussions then? Because core, I mean, I like to pretend that I know what I'm talking about, but core is a big part in back squatting and powerlifting,
massive,
right?
So I couldn't sit up, going to the toilet. So you can imagine like doing a shit. Can't push.
Excuse me.
You don't realise. Yeah, sorry.
Why did you put it in air quotes though?
I was trying to be ladylike, and then
girls don't even do those things.
But realistically, you think about how much you actually use your core for that type of stuff. So straight after surgery, because of all the pain medication and stuff I was on a lot, so I was very constipated, and I had so much pain that I had to take it like a pillow in the toilet with me and like hold it against me, and I'd just be crying on there for like hours. It was the worst.
Did you build? I can't believe, like, because you never get to see. They say like it's the hours you put in behind the doors and the struggle. So there's 3 photos. It takes people 3 seconds to go, oh, that would have been shit. But seeing the journey of your recovery to where you were, was it a big hit, or because falling from heights like that, and then was there points where you're like, I'm not fucking gonna get back. I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna be a big fat chick for the rest of my life and fuck powerlifting, like, or were you determined like, no, I'm coming back? And
no, I knew I'd come back. I didn't know it'd be this soon though. I thought maybe a couple years, but yeah, it's coming. It's literally the 1 month now.
1 year.
1 year, sorry. But yeah, I definitely knew that I'd make it back. It's just not this soon.
I think
But yeah.
from Lily's really good at downplaying a lot of what she's done, but the one thing she left out is during the surgery they actually nicked her lung. So making the incision, they nicked her lung. So she was in ICU for a good 48 hours, bit touch and go, purely because they just accidentally hit a lung, and then she was, they had to keep checking her lung capacity, her oxygen capacity. So coming out of the surgery, like,
What did he?
She was in the
sneeze, or was he
wards.
playing patient? He didn't
He
play
was
patient.
drunk as fuck.
yeah. It was like you've been hit with the cancer stick, and then the cunt's gone in and fucking licked your lung as well. Like, Jesus,
Good news. Good news. The cancer's gone. Bad news. You're never gonna breathe again.
We deflated one of your lungs. You could imagine him sticking a finger in it, like, fuck. I'm gonna have to. I don't know. That's what I would be doing. I would like, shit. Do you reckon they'll notice? Like,
but it took that. I think took the rehab process just that little bit longer, because now we were fighting against her being able to get aerobic capacity back up, which, you know, in the sport of powerlifting isn't as prevalent, but you still need some degree of it. So, but in saying that, like, Lil started fucking doing body weight shit 2 weeks post surgery, like, and we were having to really kind of hold her back and put the brakes on. And coaching Lily's an experience. It's like, have you ever tried to tame a wild bronco? It's just the hardest fucking thing in the world. Like, you try and put the brakes on it. Yeah, it's just like, fuck me. So every step of the way, Lily's like, oh, can we do more? Can we do more? It's like, we got to like just strip it back. And to her credit, she was super patient and listened to the advice of myself and Paul, and got her to a point where she was able to start training again. And then I think just a combination of her determination, athleticism, and genetics, like, fuck, she came back a lot quicker than anyone expected.
what was your routine for your recovery? What was your sort of day to day? What was the routine in the life of Lily?
Routine in the life of Lily.
We can pretend as well,
I
like
don't
we don't.
Just make one up.
Yeah, I don't know.
What
Just
was training?
everything Paul kind of told me to. I think every day was a bit different, but I had to do a lot more like running, walking, which I don't usually do. We had to work a lot on like motor control stuff. What else did we do?
Well, it was a bit different because we were still in lockdown.
Yeah.
So Paul introduced some really, like, she had to start doing that aerobic capacity. So she had to start walking and then running, and then it was very, very basic core drills, like very, very...
very basic. I couldn't even do a sit-up.
Yeah, like, being able to lift 227.5 kilos requires more core strength than anyone could probably think. And then, because of all the issues, not even be able to do a sit-up. So it was like a lot of breathing drills just to get core and pelvic control back. And then we progressed it very slowly to isolative movements, body weight, and then we started loading very, very slowly. But again, because Lily is Lily and determined as fuck, that process was still quite quick. Even though it does sound drawn out, for her, it probably a couple of months, where it'd take another athlete maybe double that time.
Yeah, I did my homework.
So where are you at now? What's you going into a comp soon, or?
Yeah, so December I prepped for another competition, and then I unfortunately had to bail a couple days before. So now we're in the struggle. So with like a kidney function, can you explain that though?
Yeah, okay. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So when dealing with the high intensity training that we do, you get a lot of waste product produced within the muscle, and that gets filtered out by the kidney. So obviously Lily's already now at a fucking, I guess, at a lesser advantage because she's only got one. But we're in a space now where it's a lot of guess and check sort of work, as there's no real research to follow. There's no real set plan to follow. And this is how you now prep for a powerlifting comp when you've got one kidney.
Yeah.
We can only base it off the experience and knowledge that we have prior to this, but now we've got to introduce new techniques. So with Lily, it's a lot of guess and check. Okay, we'll deload here and we'll have a heavy week here, but then we got to pull it back a little bit more suddenly than we expected.
Yeah.
So we're in that space now, and obviously her nutrition's changed a lot, which all impacts her training. So that last comp we just flew a little bit too close to the sun, and unfortunately, her kidney levels her kidney levels spiked back up, and we had to unfortunately pull her out. But again, we took a lot of information away from that we've been able to implement into, I guess, her current prep. So she's looking to compete in June this year. And we're able to make more educated decisions with more evidence that we have to support what she's doing.
Yeah.
So it's still a bit iffy, but
yeah,
we're on the right track.
Yeah, it's just taking every session as it comes. I'm just still getting regular blood tests and whatnot. And then if that indicates that my kidney functions, shit, then I have to just kind of bring it back a bit. But we're implementing like having a whole week off training every now and then, or deloading every 2 weeks. Just kind of babying my kidney at the moment.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you weren't getting a lot of blood work before,
No.
But did they tell you what could have caused it?
We literally have no idea. So usually the cancer that I had is hereditary. I've got like no cancer whatsoever in my family, like a bit of breast cancer, but not kidney cancer. And with kidney cancer, generally it's males who are over 50. And so for someone at 24 to get kidney cancer as a female, it was completely random. We have no idea what has caused it.
So, I mean, there's just trying to unjoin dots for myself and then people at home. There's obviously rumours around people who lift a lot of weights, eat 500 protein shakes a day, it has an impact on their kidney function.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that shit's true, but that's if it's been proven or not, who knows? Well, Brandon probably knows. But that wasn't a thing. You weren't an aspiring, I'm going to hit 300 kilo back squat this year, so I'm going to have 4 protein shakes every meal.
I didn't even have protein shakes. I get all my protein from my food.
Oh, good.
But yeah, 170 grams from food. But so I'm pretty smart with all that. But now that I only have one kidney, we had to drop the protein intake back. So yeah, we've had to make like changes. Like I'm not allowed to have any red meat. So red meat is just a harsher source of protein. And as an athlete, I wasn't going to agree with going on a low protein diet, which is recommended. So I'm being a rebel and
because fuck science.
I gotta stop. It is quotation marks.
No, these are great.
But yeah, so I'm going back to a high protein diet. But to do a high protein diet, I've just got to change the source of protein, which is no red meat, unfortunately. But yeah,
So where are you getting it from?
just chicken, fish, and plants.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds gross, doesn't it?
Yeah, I miss steak so bad.
Can they not give you? We had a dude had kidney cancer in the army. Cowpy, he's out now. Big bald-headed DFSW bloke. Not that bald is a. Oh yeah, I know that bald guy. Anyway, he got his kidney removed in the army. He was young. He got kidney cancer. But he got a replacement. Did they not? They were like, no, you can't have one. Can you have? Or am I talking
Can't they
shit?
grow them these days? Or am I watching too much sci-fi? I'm pretty sure they can grow kidneys.
I'm pretty sure they can grow anything these days.
I'm pretty sure they did it the other night on Star Trek. So I thought we were at that stage of science now that we can, or maybe it's if you've got a bit of a kidney you can regrow. I don't know. Or is that your liver?
Yeah, no, your liver can
I'm going to
regenerate.
stop talking about science, I think.
Yeah.
Your liver.
Keegan needs to type away and get some fact checking done, mate.
Liver is the only organ that can regenerate itself.
Right, so it's liver.
But
Yeah.
they've grown
But when
ears
you
and
get
stuff.
one kidney removed, the other one actually grows in size.
Ooh, makes
Yeah.
up for it.
So I just got one big kidney.
Good to go.
Yeah.
So you didn't get to go down a weight class then? Because the other kidney just bulked it back up.
So what
Yeah.
and I mean, we got Brando sitting next to you, but you're obviously you're like Nico. You're a fit, lean powerlifter. Do you think weight moves weight? And would you sacrifice the rig to lift more weight? If they said
Nope.
no.
Nope. I'm heavier now. So I'm like sitting at 79 kilos and I compete at 75 and I just feel uncomfortable. Like you feel disgusting. When I'm leaner, you just feel so much better. Even though I'm stronger, yeah, being lean is just better, a better lifestyle.
But I think that's also like, not to, put societal fucking views on things, but like, does being female change your view? Because if you ask me, like, oh, weight moves weight, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go up to the 120s and fucking be as strong as hell. But do you think being a female, you don't want to be as heavy?
I think younger me, definitely. So I've competed in the 67 kilo class.
Oh.
That's where I've started. So I was a lot smaller. So I feel like now I've moved up a weight class to the 75s. I feel like that's my limit. I don't want to, because I do definitely have a lot more body fat than I did, and I'm comfortable here.
I don't want to hijack the conversation, but can you break this down, Brando? Because I still don't believe it, mate. When people say mass moves mass, I'm like, that's physics, correct? Like inertia makes sense. Being fat doesn't make you strong. So
being fat doesn't make you strong, but it can. Like, Kane's gonna hate me, but let's use Kane as an example. We all know Kane, and your listeners, if they've listened to your podcast religiously, they would have seen or heard of Kane on previous episodes. But he's a $165 at the moment. Squats 385 kilos. And he's not the most lean bloke, as we all know, but under all that cuddliness, we'll say, there is still a lot of muscle. He's still got probably roughly 110 to 120 kilos of lean muscle there. And then he's got some just extra cushioning on top. But it's the cushioning on top that changes his leverage's positions to allow him to squat the weight he does. So it's not just about weight moves weight, but it's weights and the leverages combined that changes. Lily is probably the example where, like, if she was to put on weight, it wouldn't do anything for her to be any stronger. Like, if she just put on fat, because she's so lean already. But if she put on weight, it would just be unnecessary weight, and it wouldn't do anything to advantage her. She'd have to put on like 40 plus kilos before we saw that change in her leverages.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, and I guess with the big fat powerlifters and the traditional thought that people think or associate with powerlifters, like, they just got to remember that there's still a shit ton of muscle under there.
Yeah.
But that ideal is changing as well. Like, we all don't want to be fat and obese. Like, we know there's detrimental health benefits to being that weight, and I'm sure if you ask Kane, being 165 kegs isn't comfortable.
And I've just know, like, I don't watch a great deal of powerlifting, but see the body shape of the two big tall boys in strongman. They started, Brendan Shaw and the Big Mountain. They started to get ab resemblance towards like the last couple of years. I've got a feeling they retired, or one of them retired now. But yeah, they're not carrying massive guts. They still have a little bit.
So strongmans are, like, again, a different category because they wanna, and, like, don't get me wrong, we all as powerlifters as well, being a strength sport, the loads coming on our body through the joints as well, like, we need that little bit of extra cushioning from the fat. Like, we want to be, like, on comp day, we want to be as fluidy as possible. We want to be super hydrated, that everything just feels that little bit nicer. A strongman's like a powerlifter on the next level because it's like CrossFit on steroids. You got to be able to, take these heavy weights and do it for reps. You got to be able to take these weights and then move them 50 plus meters and carry shit. But the good thing in both industries of strongman and powerlifting is that we're understanding that nutrition is key and that we can get better performance results by altering what foods we're eating. Instead of just eating, 12 Krispy Kreme donuts, we can just eat some fucking rice and some orange juice and get a totally different result.
Yeah.
In body composition, that is.
Yeah. So Lily, you were saying you do a weight cut before a comp.
Yeah.
What does that involve for you?
Generally, I just go in a calorie deficit. So however long it takes me. But it's only usually a couple kilos the night before. I don't do anything drastic. It's just usually, it's almost like a keto diet. So just manipulating carbs and fluids. But
So
yeah,
the fluids is a bit I'm trying to get at, right? Like and again,
Yeah.
I'm not pretending to be a doctor. I think I've made it quite clear that I'm almost the opposite.
yeah, yeah,
I know there's always kidney issues when you talk about fighters because of liquid restriction
yeah.
as part of their weight cut. Is that a big thing for you as a powerlifter? Like, is there a massive dehydration?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, I'm never going to be able to do a water cut ever again. But yeah, I've probably only done like 2 water cuts in my time, but I didn't realize the effects that it actually has on your kidney until now. But
There was always like, there is always an effect when you take out water from in a weight cut scenario. But like you use the example of fighters, like I think their weight cuts are a lot more drastic. Like they drop kilos and kilos.
Some of them do like 10 kilos.
Yeah.
And
which
then,
is ridiculous.
And then like you look at like a lot of fighters using performance enhancing drugs, and then they're refueling with IV bags. They're going to that extreme level, but again, they're getting paid millions of dollars in some cases for that. Like, fuck me, I would do that.
Yeah.
Powerlifting at the moment still, it's still quite niche. It's not mainstream as such. You don't see it on your Friday night fucking TV. So there's not that money in it where I would we do this for a hobby essentially.
Yeah.
So even at the top level, some people are getting, some decent coin, but it'd be more than the minimum wage. So if there was millions of dollars on the line, I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's do everything we possibly need. But for a hobby, I just don't think we need to push it to that limit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's the internal dialogue? Because this is something that I'm always interested in. I ask all the guests, what is going on when you're sort of having a look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I was about to, I'm back squatting 230 odd kilos, whatever it is, and then I've gone through this. Are you a fairly positive internal dialogue person, as in, your internal is pretty positive, or are you like a negative, but I'm going to keep going? Because we spoke to Baden Brown last week. He's the fittest dude in Australia. His internal dialogue is fucking negative.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't self-defeat, but he's his own worst critic. So I'd just be interested, what's your...
I feel like I'm the total opposite. I don't know.
You're very positive.
Yeah, I think, very positive. And especially on myself. I don't even know how to answer that, sorry, but definitely...
Good question, Max.
Yeah, very good. It's got me thinking. But, I wouldn't say I've ever had any negative thoughts, especially about myself and my training.
Fuck. So what about when you're walking up to do a PB? What's going on in your brain? Are you like, I'm fucking going to stick this? Or you're like, you piece of shit? Like...
No, I don't know. I'll always back myself. I never have any self-doubt or whatnot.
Fuck, that's golden.
That's solid. I'm good at neither CrossFit or powerlifting, but I think there would be a contrast in sports. Like Baden's doing a lot of Metcon stuff where it's you're fighting the urge to quit through cardio, whereas a one lift you would kind of need to be all positive. His negativity, it wasn't negativity, it was more fuck you pussy to himself in his head to stop himself from feeling pain while doing long cardio stuff, whereas I don't think that would work walking up to the platform going fuck you pussy. One deadlift.
He does that to himself.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's how you're motivated though. Like if we look CrossFit, I would never see myself doing CrossFit, but I think I would have to take on that mentality of like, you can do this, you can fucking get through it. Like, you've been through worse type of thing. But like in powerlifting, I know this is about Lily, but like when I approach the bar, I'm like, don't be a fucking shit cunt, get this lift. Like,
he literally has a sign in front of his squat bar saying, don't be shit. Like it's actually a sign.
Yeah, like it's just, I think it's how you're intrinsically motivated, and I guess for me that's changed a lot recently. Like there's Like there's a video of me just headbutting the fucking barbell prior to to myself squatting, and then there's blood pouring down my face, and while I'm squatting, and that was a very, like, I guess, negative reaction to my thought process. But there is a better way. You don't need to fucking headbutt the barbell or scream at the barbell. Like,
and then I'm the complete opposite. I'll sit there with my eyes closed, working on my breathing techniques.
Ooh, here we go.
I just approach the bar completely different. So, yeah.
You're very much in control, though.
Yeah.
I think fucking fantastic, mate, because my coping mechanism for even podcasts or social anxiety or anything used to be drink copious amounts of alcohol and have the negative chat. But sitting there and going through breathing techniques, meditating, visualizing.
That's exactly what I do. Yeah, it's massive. I usually meditate before I come onto podcasts as well.
So it's, I think it's like whatever gets the result though, like no matter whatever the consequences or whatever result you want, does the, what sort of thing, like, does the actions justify the means?
Or does it have any impact on the end state, and is it just superstition?
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I am the most superstitious person when it comes to lifting. I have to wear the same fucking shirt every fucking week, and socks, and not undies, but like that superstition and beliefs come into it. I think we were talking about this on Epic Day.
Yeah, this is something that that came up about superstitions, and we spoke about it. Adrian spoke about like footy players wearing, taping wrists or doing specific religious things to encourage, I suppose.
Yeah, because we were talking about like what happens if something went wrong and you didn't have that shirt, or you didn't have that your exact rack or whatever it was. I remember that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a CrossFit-esque. So CrossFit's different because you can't ever prepare. Well, you can, but it changes you up. I mean, I did it the other day. I went to the gym and I'm like, I don't have my t-shirt. I gotta. Let's go.
I'm going home.
I'm going home. Can't do it. I can't. But so I went home, grabbed my shirt, changed, went back. I could have just trained in a singlet. Couldn't do it. Being a big cat. Yeah. That's on one end of this. Yeah.
I did that a couple of weeks ago. I drove up to my hometown Bundy. I went to train, but I didn't have my belt and my knee sleeves, so I didn't train. So little things like that. I shouldn't have done that. Improvise.
That's also protective, though. It's a bit different.
Yeah, but still, you can make do without your knee sleeves and your belt.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you get something done.
Yeah, I think this is something that's always interested me is, does it have an end state? And if you break people out of that mental, will it have an end? Like, will it have an outlook on the end state?
I think it's very person dependent. Like, we spoke about on Epic Day. We have one person here that is so fucking routine that, you throw them out of that, I think shit would hit the fan. But I also think it comes back down to what is your problem? Like, as in, what type of problems have you dealt with in your life? Like, what chaos have you been through to determine on what scale does this rank as fucking, 10 being the worst thing you've ever experienced, and then 1 being fucking, whatever, let's just get on with it. But if you've experienced it, 11 out of 10 on that scale, coming to the gym and not forgetting your shirt should just be a 1, and you should be able to make do, really. But I guess it's what challenges people perceive to be important to them.
Yeah, I always think that superstition is probably what put the human race into a pickle. Trying to understand things a long time ago, mate. So.
It's good it's a good placebo, but if you're wearing your lucky socks and that makes you lift extra weight, wear your fucking lucky socks.
Well, they've scientifically proven placebo, right? So people have done some amazing things when they've actually just used the power of the mind and they believed it and done it.
Well, they did a study. Fuck, I really should have written this down somewhere. But people felt, I think, between don't exactly quote me.
We're going to quote you because Keegan's already typing, mate. So go.
I bet he is. But I think it was like 15 to 20% more confident when they were wearing a superhero t-shirt.
Ooh, that's a good one. I wear
So-
Batman socks all the time, and no
Yeah.
shit, I'm fucking bulletproof.
But legit, like
Still can't fight to save yourself, but
it's really awkward because Batman's not actually bulletproof.
oh, have you had a fight with Batman, mate?
But
Isn't that logic, eh?
yeah, so they produced.
It's the unbeatable argument.
Yep.
Have
It
you
is.
tried fighting the dude who may or may not exist, but probably does?
He's just a billionaire. I'm sure someone's done it by now.
Oh, if only.
But yeah, they
Finally.
did the study and they showed that you're 20% more confident wearing superhero t-shirts. So when I created the brand that is Epic, the whole idea was the logo to look like something you'd wear on a fucking superhero fucking shirt. So people, when they wear it, they're like, I fucking got this. Oh, 100%.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I was
I'm
thinking
not
about this
just
the
all-
other day. If when you go up and you're going to go and do your PB, and I know that as you get hot, so upwards of a certain weight, it's relatively light, and then you start, let's say, like benching anything below 140, you're like, oh yeah, that's heavy, right? And then you start those incremental, minute increases over that feel like a fucking ton increase. Once you're at the top end of your biological ability, when we start putting kilos and half kilos on, does it actually, can your body feel the weight change? Or if you went out there and trusted your coach and he's like, we're just going to do some lifting today and I'll take you through it, but you're not allowed to look at the weights, would you lift as much or not more, like in a mind game type scenario?
I don't know.
You go on this one first.
Yeah, I feel like both as strength coaches, we both have clients that we actually don't tell them the weight at all, especially on comp day. They literally block their ears and have to walk away, because sometimes it is a mental thing as well. Mentally knowing that number, it can put you off. For me personally, I don't think it's a mental thing. I can just generally feel the weight. Yeah.
I guess as a coach, like I think some people need to know the weight, some people don't need to know the weight.
Yeah.
Do I think that has an effect on their psyche? 100%. But I guess it's how they internalize that. Like I know for myself personally, I need to know the weight. Like I need to know what's going in the bar so I can dial in what level I need to go to.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same.
Like if it's a fucking, your bench is a classic example because you get to a point where as soon as it's over 100% of your max, a 2.5 kilo jump could feel like 10 kilos.
Yeah.
So like I need to know what's on the bar so I can go 12 out of 10.
Now,
See,
yeah, go.
Mate, again, I've never trained to the level where a 1RM was super high, but I did used to do a fuckload of volume training and try to get jacked, and got to the point where I wasn't doing proper periodization, but was definitely doing progressive overload training. And this is when I was in the army, training with my housemate Jake Chappell, who likes to fuck with people, and I'd reached what was my 1RM, and mind you, like I hadn't been training hard for a while, so I was getting fairly rapid gains, but I was like, mate, this is where I normally max out. Chuck 2.5s on each side, and he put 10s on, and I wasn't paying attention, and still lifted it. And in my mind, that is, I had a psychological block at the weight that I thought I was going to max out at.
100%.
Now,
I think
whether
they
I-
exist.
yeah,
I think it's
and not knowing it didn't feel that much heavier than it should have.
Yeah.
I guess you can only be aware of what you're aware of. Like if you don't know what you don't know, then it's outside of your realm of comprehension of shit, this is meant to be heavy.
Yeah, definitely mind over matter.
So I think it's very, like, for competition, like talking specifically powerlifting, like if we didn't have screens everywhere with the weights on it, I think people would be able to do a lot more phenomenal things. But then you get the freaks like who just have that unwavering self-belief and know they can do anything. Like, and I think that's why we're seeing people squat over 500 kilos.
I'm blown away by it. I think that, so. Not putting you on a psychologist's couch, but is there people that need to know the weight? Are they control freaks, or are you guys pretty easy breezy cover girl in your day-to-day life?
You go.
No, I don't know. Am I a control freak?
I don't think you are. I think Lily's probably one of the most easygoing people that I've ever met, even prior to like having kidney cancer, which I think should change people dramatically. I don't think she changed. I think she just got more okay with things outside of her control. Me personally, and I've had a history of anxiety, and what we know about people with anxiety is they try to control everything, which was a really bad habit. So I've had to learn to let go of a few things. But when it comes to fucking lifting, like, I will control every fucking variable to put myself in the most perfect position to execute the lift in the most perfect way to get the outcome that I desire. And like, I will fucking sacrifice anything for that.
I feel like I'm a bit the same, actually. Like, when it comes
to... You can't just hijack my answer.
No, I was like, that's a good answer. I'll steal that one. No, but like, definitely in the gym, I definitely have to have control of the numbers and everything like that. I don't say it makes me a controlling person, though. But yeah. But
again, like, this is a very controllable sport. Like,
yeah.
It's a very planned, it's a very...
yeah.
It's not like rugby league or rugby union where I can't control the external factors. Like, I can't control a big Polynesian kid coming to rip my head off, but I can control if I do my prehab or my pre-engagement stuff so I can execute this lift correctly so I don't get injured.
Yeah.
So it's a very controlled sport, which I think attracts people who need to demonstrate that as an outlet. Fuck, that was a better answer.
Because so some of the biggest stuff they do in the military and to fuck with people in the army, and right through basic training at Kapooka all the way through to some of the, like, the elite levels. One of the biggest things is put people in a position where they don't know when it's going to end. So the pack march or the stomp or the bush trip or whatever it is putting that piece of unknown that their brain just starts running away with them. They're like, well, is it going to go for 5Ks? Is it going to go for 20? Do I need to reserve my energy? And so one of the training techniques, they always just used to try and smash into you is always save something in the tank, and you don't know when it's going to end, so don't mentally bank on it. And I've done that as a young kid in the army. I fucked up and, like, we're walking past the cages where the stomp would normally stop, and I'm like, yeah, you're finished. And then they just wheel straight past it, and you're like, your whole heart falls out, and you're like, I fucking cannot make it. I'm not going to be able to do it. We've got 400 meters. You know, you could be only going for 400 meters extra, which you absolutely can. But you fucking quit mentally. You give it up, and then everything hurts more. Everything. So this is something that's always interested me when it comes to powerlifting and variables and being in control, as opposed to not knowing and how that affects performance in the gym.
Yeah.
I think it's like Lily may be the same, but, you know, growing up I played quite high level rugby league, rugby union, and I'm not saying it was anywhere close to the stuff you guys had to endure, but, you know, you were administered that kind of, you're running until I say stop. Like, and you don't know where it's ended, and then you think it's stop, and then you're like, oh shit, you're going again. I think that really helped at a very young age develop an athlete mindset of just to go until someone says stop and then just keep going again. And I remember there'll be games where I'm out on my feet thinking there's like 5 minutes left, and I look at the clock and it's fucking 20 minutes to go. It's like, where do you find that extra, you know, left in the tank? And it's like, I think it just comes from something that's already there. Like, it's that intrinsic motivation. It's like, I know that if, say, my next competition, my coach puts my second attempt at 270, and I'm like, oh, that's what I thought I was going to take for a third. I know I'll have plenty left in the tank for a third attempt, just because I have this unwavering belief that whatever goes on the bar, I'll fucking crush.
So the army uses hate. When you've run out of all your energy, then you weaponize hate, and like, I would never recommend that to humans in the real world, because it's fucking toxic for your psychology. But it fucking works, mate. if you run out of gas or you run out of anything and you find something to, I think this is where Baden starts to hate himself. He's like, fuck you, pussy. It's like, if you can weaponize it, well, Army calls it aggression, but really what they're doing is brainwashing people to hate something, and it finds extra energy somewhere.
100%. Like, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Like, if you find something, again, anyone listening, don't do this. It's really unhealthy. But like,
here we go.
But it's in all honesty, we spoke about earlier about me headbutting a barbell, and that comes from a very shit belief that I had from some past trauma, and it caused me to hate myself. So that, in that instance, is a very extreme situation where I lost control. But me headbutting the barbell was a way of me harnessing something that was fucking powerful, but then I was still able to get that lift after a week where, like, if we knew the ins and outs of what I had to deal with that week, no one would have batted an eyelid if I said I couldn't do it today. No one would have batted an eyelid and said, you know what, take the rest day. But I was like, no, I can't do that. So unfortunately for me, I fucking decided to headbutt a barbell and make myself bleed and go for it, because that's what a sane fucking person does.
I think it's engaging that sympathetic parasympathetic switching system and using that extra, pumping adrenaline through all those sorts of things that allow you to go. And then the problem is that the way they say, like, so if you're dealing, especially guys overseas, if they've gone through and gone into some stuff, they say keep talking about it, and it's like exposure therapy, right? If you've got something that you fucking hung up on, you keep focusing on it, thinking about it into minute detail, and then eventually you just get bored as fuck. So you talk about it. People go through breakups or loss of a loved one or parents, and then they go, righto, eventually you talk about it to the point where they're like, I'm fucking sick to death of talking about it. The same effect would happen, is definitely not healthy. Once that particular thing that you use to prep for that lift diminishes, then you have to find some other unhealthy childhood trauma to invigorate or create a fight or flight response.
It's like, fuck, let me just open my drawer of childhood trauma. I'll pick this one today. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
that was a joke.
Sad.
It was a joke. But I think it comes with, like, now I know we switched lanes a little bit, and it's a little bit like supposed to be about Lily, but so I've recently unpacked a lot of this childhood trauma. I've recently gone through and dealt with it. And what I found is that once I cleared it, I didn't have to do those unhealthy things to get the same result. Like, I was able to squat yesterday at a heavier weight, at heavier percentages for more reps without headbutting a barbell, because I now
dizzy.
Sorry?
Wasn't unconscious.
Yeah, fuck, that's the other thing people don't... You're like, did that hurt? I'm like, no, you can't. I was fucking in the state of adrenaline. You could have bloody shot me and I wouldn't have felt it.
Still getting marked.
I still got the scar here. Like, where's that camera? There's a little scar there.
Fucking hell.
And then your scab fall on your lap.
Yeah, that was fucking funny. Anywho.
So your business, you're a strength coach now as well,
Yeah.
Lil. Your clientele, are they chicks? Do you have dudes? What's the...
Yeah, I have a mix of both.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to lead more towards powerlifting, like so strength athletes, but I do work with a lot of like general population.
General population. I love the way that you say there's powerlifters and there's normal people.
Yeah, I got some normal people in there.
So there's elite abhumans, and then there's the peasantry, the gen pop.
Yeah. For just general health.
So what do they do? They so if guys will come. So this is purely trying to break down some barriers, and just it's interesting. Because if I was going to go and see a powerlifter, or if I was going to go and train and get a PT, I would, for me, because I'm fucking immature with the whole thing, I'd be like, no, I want to go to the big jack dude, because obviously he's done it. And I'm just interested to see, obviously that's bullshit, because you can part knowledge, perseverance, resilience, all the things that you have. And I'm just like, fuck, why dudes, and why do they engage? Why are they coming to you and speaking to you? What is the thing that Lily's drawn them to?
I don't know. I suck at selling myself.
It's because you're stronger than most of the dudes.
Yeah, that's what that would.
One, and I think you've walked the walk of being the elite athlete.
Yeah.
And you're pretty smart. Just
that's a better answer.
Say all that again so they can crop this and make it look like you said.
Oh, it's live, bro. There's no cropping.
Oh, fuck.
Because and I mean it's inspirational, mate. What you've gone through with anyone, I think this is something that people would stop and listen to. Do your clientele piss you off? Like what your clientele you get? Does going through what you've gone through? I don't know. You wouldn't be an open book with everybody. Would people rock up with excuses and you're just like, fuck, mate, you don't know, shut up and lift some weight? Or
yeah, kind of.
We literally had this conversation.
Yeah, we have. I don't know. There is times where like I don't say anything. I haven't said anything about, I don't know, something else that's gone on, and I'll have to sit there and listen to someone else's shit story. Like, you have no idea what I'm going through today, but I've got to put on a happy face and, get through the session. But yeah, I've definitely had to do a lot of that, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me.
Because you see, I think there's a lot in training. We know that prescribing fitness and movement, weightlifting has its benefits on depression. Weightlifting, they think more so on depression than anxiety. But you see a lot of these old buggers, and they go in the gym, and it's a chat session between sets. They spend more time talking than they do lifting. I think it's a fucking therapy session, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the other day because I was watching. Go.
I think I'm a therapist.
Yep.
I actually am. Yeah. I think you could say the same thing.
Oh, 100%. But I just don't think. Like, no trainer, coach, when you're going through your Cert 3 and 4 in fitness or you're doing a strength conditioning course, no one stops you and says, hey, you got to not just be a coach, but you also got to run a business, and you also got to have to listen to people's problems day in, day out. Be prepared to try and impart some wisdom. I don't think anyone ever prepares you for that until you're in the industry and someone comes up and just goes, oh, my dad died or something. It's like, and you got to train yourself to not react in a way that you'd seem shocked, because that's just going to create more fucking angst in the person. I
feel like we're always the first ones to know about whatever's happening in their life. Like if someone died or I don't know, something shit's going on in their life, we're always the first one for them to tell, and we've got an hour one-on-one with them, and that one-on-one, that's their hour to kind of vent and whatnot.
It also comes from the trust that, they inherently trust us. We're telling them to put 100 kilos on their back and do it 5 times. And they're like, oh, okay, I can do that. So there's an inherent trust that comes along with the job, But I just don't think, as a coach, you're ever really prepared to hear some of the stuff you've heard.
Yeah.
So
I like being able to talk to people about their other problems, though. I like being in that position.
I liked it for a little bit until I realised I was distracting myself from my own problems.
Yeah.
And then you realise, this takes up a lot of energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Which, it takes up a fuckload of energy. So people who come to get a coach, I mean, powerlifting might be slightly different because it's a sport, but anyone who goes to get a personal trainer is generally looking to you guys as you're better at life than me. Fitness is like the key thing for most people to get their shit back on track. But they are coming to you going, my shit's a mess. Yours is obviously not. Fix me. And that, for most people, is you have some insight on life, not just on how to lift weights, but how to be fucking good at it. And this is going to sound a little bit like a sales pitch, but the industry leading kind of organisations in Sydney that have a lot of personal trainers working for them are now making them get mental health qualified, which is a product that we're starting to deliver for that exact reason. Because I mean, PTs is the first area for us, no brainer, because there's a lot of veterans that are PTs, and then we can go and upskill them and give them some mental health training. but it's kind of that is the reason. If people are coming to you for any kind of coaching, I know life coaching's a dirty word, but any kind of coaching, they're going to start to vent their garbage on you. Well, garbage is probably a bit harsh, but their baggage. And if
the best word, if we're going to use like words that are
baggage is, I mean, excess baggage is there's stuff that's weighing them down. And if they're venting that on you without you having the tools to deal with it, it gets you depressed real quick. And that's because I mean, if it's the same, like even on our end, and even with anyone kind of in this space, if you for the veteran example, if you sit there listening, all the good psychs that work with defence and DVA must see a psych themselves at least once a month. Because if you're sitting there listening to other people's problems all day, every day, it becomes that like vibration, for lack of a better word, becomes your daily norm, and you just resonate at a depressed level forever. So you got to offload a lot of that. So that might be something you want to have a chat to your guys about too. Is like, should we start to think about how much this is affecting us because we're listening to everyone's shit all day?
I think it comes with the job though. I think the more, like as you said, like you become the person they talk to, and it sparks interest, as this industry is all about growth and succession and getting better. I think it sparks interest as a coach to understand the human psyche more, and to understand people more. So not just to understand yourself better, but so when people come to you with these sorts of problems, you can sit back and go, well, why don't you think of it from this perspective?
100%, man. It's all holistic, and I mean, there's the mental health bit is. It used to just be, you talked about mental health when it was like a negative, like mental ill health, but in reality, it's a spectrum, and having poor mental health is down one end. The other end is super high performance, and you've got people coming to you that want to get to that super high performing point. And there's a whole bunch of shit in their way as well that you got to keep an eye on to make sure they're not just becoming obsessed with lifting weights and forgetting every other aspect of their life and overtrain, all that kind of stuff. Like 100%, man. Like it's all holistic and tied together.
And that's a massive thing, especially as powerlifters. Like people just get so obsessed with the numbers on a program that they just switch off from this thing called life. And it's like, that, and I said it before, and it's not the greatest mentality, but I'll sacrifice anything to get the numbers on the platform. But like, I'll be very conscious these days that I got to think about, if I injure myself, I can't work. If I injure myself, I can't work. I can't make money. I can't have the impact that I want. So it's all very holistic and tied into everything. And you need things that can pull you back, I guess, from that teetering edge. You got to have other hobbies to distract you and rejuvenate and re-energize you.
It's a holistic thing, dude. And I think it's a massive weight. There's stuff there. I think retraining people to be comfortable what's going on when they're doing this workout. And like Lily was saying before, like that's an hour one-on-one time where people might not go and see a psych because of the innuendo or the negative light that people still sometimes look at it on. They can come to you and say the same thing and get a chat and talk. That might be you might be the only person in that day, and then they go into an office cubicle, and then they come home and they sit and stroke their cat or whatever. You might be the only human interaction they have in that whole fucking day.
I was really worried when you said we were all like, where is this going?
Whoa.
But yeah, I think there's that's where it's sort of moving now, and those industries that can keep up with it offer a holistic model to everyone. I think they're going to see the return. So what's next for you, Lily? Where are you going? What's the next big thing?
Gonna try and make it to my next competition. So 14 weeks.
Fuck, is it 14 weeks?
14 weeks.
Jesus.
So prep starts in 2 weeks. I'm currently like the strongest I've ever been outside of a prep. So I feel like this comp's going to be my biggest one yet. So looking forward to it.
Is this going to knock over any records I don't know.
I think the girls' squat record is like 280 at the moment. So
No, it's two.
no, I think it's 280.
As a 75.
Yeah.
Who the fuck did that?
Chantal?
It's 280. Yeah, it's 280.
It's 280.
Jesus.
That just got done. So
And what's your PR?
227. But yeah.
What do you reckon you're going to bang out this time?
I reckon I can get 230 at least. So in December I did a 210 squat. So that's 8 months after cancer. So that's pretty alright, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's okay. So to do that 8 months post surgery, I'm looking at 230, I reckon.
How much did you
230
drop?
even.
Like when you went back to start training, where were you at? What was your lowest number you can remember?
Oh, like straight after surgery,
Yep.
body weight. It was that bad. So I dropped 14 kilos. So I think I was 76 in hospital. I dropped down to 64 kilos. So I dropped a bit of weight. But yeah, we had to work back on body weight squats, worked on front squats, and I think I was front squatting like 40 kilos for a while.
Hang on, are we talking like air squats or you're squatting your body weight?
Yeah, just my body weight.
Air squats.
Air
Yeah.
squat with my body. Yeah.
I was gonna say, fucking hell. I can't squat
Yeah.
my body weight right now. I haven't had cancer yet that I know of.
Don't say yet.
Oh, we all get it at some stage, don't we? It's like, it's fucking 2021. You either get it young or when you're 90. So that's kind of like the majority of people are dying of cancer. Hopefully later.
Yeah.
Hopefully later.
Yeah.
Or we could
When
start
you're-
just being healthier. I guess that could
Yeah.
stop it as well.
So how big was what was the
less
growth
showing.
rate when you started proper training again? Is there such thing as muscle memory? Do you feel it? And did you start piling it back on and
Did I
go,
feel
holy
it?
fuck? Or was you just grinding?
Yeah, I felt my muscles just growing. No, I think it. No, I put on weight pretty fast. I just didn't have any appetite for a while, so that was the hardest part. But I think I put on 15 kilos in at least a month or two. It was really fast. So muscle memory is definitely real,
That's scientifically proven. Muscle memory is very real.
and I can firsthand tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I can't believe going from back squatting 230 and then like, no, we'll just do air squats and then getting back into it. That's a
yeah.
journey.
It definitely didn't happen overnight, but yeah, a lot of hard work went into it.
Mate, is there any books, anything you're sort of reading, anything you do for yourself, for your own mental peace or for audiences, something that's kept you going or something?
Not really. I do just a lot of research on like the internet and whatnot about other people's stories and whatnot. There's definitely not enough out there about kidney cancer or just powerlifters who've gone through similar thing, or athletes in general. So I definitely want to try and share my story as much as possible so I can help other people. But yeah, I can't say I've read any books or whatnot, but definitely a lot of online research.
Well, writing a book, you heard it here first, Lily's book on resilience and dealing with adversity.
Right.
So where can everyone find you, Lil? You've got your own business. Give yourself a bit of a plug. Where can we find you? Where can they follow you? All your social stuff like that.
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's at Lily Riley Coach, and Facebook Lily Riley Strength Coach.
Golden. We'll get them in. I mean, we've been getting slayed because not for any lack of it. They're like, you don't have any. You've never had girls on your podcast. Like we've had one. We try.
They don't normally talk to us.
They don't.
That's their problem. We ask heaps of girls. They're like, fuck no, I'm not talking to you boys.
Still Max is wearing that shirt.
Normally they can't see it. All right,
I'm
guys.
the
well,
first girl.
You guys are legends. Thanks for coming on, Lily. I cannot believe what you've had to go through and to stay positive with the mindset and a smile on your face. A lot you've got up when a lot of people would have stayed down. and not only that, but you've succeeded and made your own business and help other people make their lives better. So you're an inspiration, mate, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Cheers.